Welcome back. We have Julia Liebing joining us from Abbott Wealth Management on this Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Susan.
Yes, we're talking today about the importance of saving for your kids' education.
Yes, so a couple of options. So also not just for your kids, but later in life, lots of people end up going back to school. So a couple different ways to do that. So if you've started out early and you're doing RESPs, that's great. But if you haven't and you're going back to school yourself, like I said, later in life, then there's actually a way to utilize your RSPs to fund that.
To make that happen.
Yeah.
Should we get into the slides?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's do that. We have a few slides.
So just some options that are available to fund university. So like I said, the RSPs is the lifelong learning program, RESPs, and student loans.
Student loans can be tricky though, right? Because if you make over a certain amount of money, it's harder to qualify.
Yes, and they do take into consideration your assets and whatnot as well.
Okay.
Also for children who are dependents, then it takes into consideration the parents' information. I think they're still doing that. They did when I went to school,
yes.
So I assume that they're still doing
yes.
it.
Okay.
So first off, we've got the lifelong learning plan. So it's great if you're going back to school and you've had some time in your career to build up some RSPs. You can take that out tax-free as long as you meet certain requirements. It's like the home buyers plan that the government has to buy a house.
And so there's a cap though, 20,000?
Yes, so you can take out 20,000 over 4 years, or you can do 10,000 in 1 year. To a maximum of 20,000 over that term.
Okay.
You can do this as many times as you want over your lifetime. So you can go back to school, say like 4 different times. As long as you've got the money in your RSP to be able to do that.
Yes.
You can. So you just have to make sure that your lifelong learning plan balance gets down to 0 before you do another one.
Okay, so you can't continually, you have to pay back.
Yeah, not forever and ever that you can be a student, but
put off the real world forever.
Yes.
So you have to pay back within 10 years of taking out that loan.
Yes, so once you finish your education, then you can have that repayment period begin. So it's 10 years to pay that back, and it's 1/10 every year. You can pay more if you want, which is always good to kind of clear that off of knowing that you have to make that annual installment payment.
Sure.
And it goes back to your RSPs. So it's essentially lending yourself money.
Yes.
Which is always a good option. You don't want to pay somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we've got the RESP option.
Okay.
So this is a good one when you can actually plan ahead. So planning for your kid's education, your grandkid, niece or nephew, whatnot. You can take advantage of those great government grants. And then when you're redeeming the funds, just make sure to take out the grants and the growth first. If you don't, the grants will go back to the government if all of the funds aren't used up in the account.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So grants should be used first.
Yes, and also the growth. So that's called an educational assistance payment.
Yes.
And it utilizes the grants and the growth so that you can actually kind of take advantage of those benefits from the RESP plan.
Would most companies know to tell you you should be using your grants and growth first? They'll tell you.
Yes, definitely. So there are restrictions with how to take that money out. You can only take out $5,000 in the first 13 weeks as an educational assistance payment.
Okay.
But then you can take out as much money as you want after that.
Okay.
And it is favorable to do that because when you're taking out the growth from the plan, it's actually it has to be taxed at that time. So usually when the beneficiary is going to school, they're in a lower tax bracket, earning little to no income.
Yes.
So it's not taxable if they're under that personal threshold, right?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good loophole
to know about. Yes, definitely. But if beneficiary is working a lot, that's something that you have to be mindful of when you're taking out those educational assistance payments. Just because you don't want to push the income too high and end up paying tax on that.
Absolutely.
If you can avoid it.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. And then lastly, we've got student loans.
Okay.
So the average Canadian graduates with $25,000 in student loans.
That sounds about right, I guess.
Yeah, I know mine was more, but you know, it'd be nice to only have 25.
One day you'll have it paid off.
Yes, eventually. So I think the most common mistake when students are receiving their student loans is that they think of it as income and not as debt.
Right.
So rude awakening when you get out of university is that you have this $25,000 student loan that you need to pay off and make regular payments on. So it is nice because while you're going to school, you're not paying interest. But once you graduate, you have a little grace period, about 7 months or so, and then you have to start paying it back.
That's right.
So Not everybody is in a position right when they graduate that they're in a job where they can kind of afford to make those payments like that. So definitely important to budget when you're in university, so that you don't use all of your student loan or use it smartly. Like don't take a trip to Mexico on reading break and think that that's a great way to use your funds, right?
That would not be a good idea. I remember people getting student loans. Some people are, let's just say some people are more responsible about how they spend that money than others,
Yes,
right?
that's true, yes. And if you are responsible of it, then once you graduate, you'll be in better shape.
Yes.
Than the other people, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Julia, thank you very much for being here today.
Yes,
Some great
thank you,
points.
Susan.
Lots of options, in fact. If you're looking to go back to school or if your kids are looking at post-secondary, it's not just one option. There's several, so definitely look those up. Information on the screen if you'd like to learn more from Abbott Wealth. AbbottWealth.com. Phone number as well, 372-3736. We're back after a quick break. Stay with us.